When I look at the complete roster of characters that Tekken offers, there's many characters that I like. Many, almost all of them. Even a character like Josie, a lot of people dislike her personality, but I think what she offers in terms of gameplay is some of the best in Tekken 7. So many obnoxious characters who will run you into the dirt. Josie, you can actually exploit her weaknesses, and if the Josie player is good, they can do the same to you. It's a fun matchup there. When you look at the characters who are simply not for me, Shahid is one who stands out as like underdeveloped. Yes, you can say that about many characters on the Tekken roster, but those characters existed for about 20-30 years. This guy existed for 7, and in Tekken 8 they gave us nothing again to really latch onto besides like strong gameplay, and he kind of already had that in Tekken 7. But this is kind of simply the characters that I like versus not like. But if we were to click to the separate tab and go over to the characters who I will want to return, that list cuts down a lot. And this comes from a person who only plays Yoshimitsu, and I'm simply just going solely based off of how cool the character is, how interesting the gameplay is. I know a lot of people in the comment section are going to be talking about why is Lee a skip, and I think with the way that they're simplifying characters, if you look at Eddie 333, they said Eddie was a difficult character for people to learn, and as a result, they simplified him a lot. I would argue Lei is so much more complex than Eddie, so if Eddie got simplified, what are they going to do to a character like Lei, Dr. Boskanovich? In my opinion, I don't want those characters in a game because they're going to simplify them to the dirt. They're not going to be the same. And I could go more into detail and break down each reason why I don't want this character to show up, that character to show up, don't resurrect him. We already have this character who basically is a clone of that. This character is dumb. This character is, past them for now. So many different reasons for all of these characters. But I think there's one character who we all can agree should never, ever return. Now, if we take a look over at Twitter, Harada was doing his own thing, talking about his experience when he was in Combo Breaker. He said he stopped to get some pizza. Someone said, "Hey, Harada," and then the guy panicked and thought he was going to get shot. I guess all of those stories about how bad Chicago is got to him. The guy was over there having panic attacks. With this tweet, Harada was having his own discussion talking about Combo Breaker, but then here come the Tekken fans and their character requests. Someone says, "Hey Harada, I understand Ganryu isn't popular, but does he have a illegitimate or estranged child or student so I can still sumo in future Tekken games?" Now, even though this question is kind of a troll, right, the possibilities of Ganryu having a secret child is pretty much zero. Like, we know he's been chasing Michelle and then Julia for decades with no success. Bob, on the other hand, got all the riz. There's definitely something interesting they can do with a sumo archetype. It doesn't necessarily have to be tied to Ganryu, and I think this is the mistake that many fighting games make. Is like, we want to do another sumo character, let's make it Ganryu's son or student or friend or something. You don't have to do that. You could just pull another sumo wrestler from some other part of the world, and just say, this guy is sumo, make his fighting style better, cooler, something like. That's it. You don't have to compare it to Ganryu. I think that's a mistake that fighting games make a lot. But Harada's response, he says, "No, you misunderstand." What does he mean by that? He says, "No, you misunderstand, but Ganryu is so popular in Japan that he has such a following. The fans protest in front of our office every morning. However, Ganryu is on his way every time, so it's up to him to make it in time." Now, this is pretty interesting, right? First off, when Harada says a character is popular in Japan, I don't think that matters in terms of, it just doesn't matter. Like, he says Shahid is popular in Saudi Arabia, but Saudi Arabia probably makes up like 1% of the total player base, 2%. Like, we know from Harada that EU makes up like 60% of the fan base. America makes up like 40% of the fan base. Other places of the world is that remaining 10%. So it doesn't matter if Ganryu is ultra popular in Japan, because Japan is not, it's irrelevant in terms of the grand scheme of things. And when you look at the usage data, you can see that for a character like Ganryu, even if all of Japan is playing him, it doesn't matter. He's at the bottom. Same thing for Sheed. If he's ultra popular in Saudi Arabia, it doesn't matter. This guy has been at the bottom for all of Tekken 8 and all of Tekken 7. So it just does not matter when he say a character is popular in this specific region. It just doesn't, because those regions doesn't have a big impact on the numbers. The days of giving us joke characters simply because it's funny or simply because Harada likes it, I think is over. They should be factoring which characters would make the most money, which characters would make the player base happy. We talked about the other day how Bandai Namco is losing a lot of money, and they're losing a lot of money because of the decisions they're making with their games. Tekken giving us garbage DLC simply because they want to, or they think it's funny, or whatever the case may be, is not something they can do. So I don't think Gonnery will be in Tekken 8 for that reason, but I do appreciate this tweet from Harada because it's interesting. Even if something's not possible, I still appreciate him talking about it and sharing insight. I always love it. But that's it for this video. Bye bye.